Hello, and welcome to the Educational Fix podcast. I'm Lyle. Today's educational fix is task-based centers. So centers are an idea that have been around for quite a while. I'm not sure when they originally became part of the nomenclature, our lexicon as teachers or our toolbox as teachers, but it has been for decades, and centers are a very fun and interesting and effective way of helping students engage with the numerous skills that you will need them to learn throughout their school year. So, in general, a center is a place where students practice a unique skill that they need to learn in the classroom. So if the classroom is for younger grades, you may have a center that is based around writing, and then you may have a center that's based around numbers, and you may have a center that's based around books or computer skills or using your hands and improving your problem solving skills. All of these can be different centers, but they're also a type of educational tool that is utilized in older grades as well, and to great effect. If you have centers, even for middle school and high school, they can be very effective, although they do take a little bit more planning because the individual skills that a student needs to work on in those upper grades are a little bit more complex. And so it's not as easy as just handing them a game that's related to the skill that you're learning and have them work on it, because 9 times out of 10, when we're talking about higher level courses and higher level grades, those games don't really exist and won't be effective for the student to interact with on their own. So providing them centers in which they are interacting with their peers or interacting with scenarios and doing role play can be very, very effective in those upper grades as well. Now, today's fix is actually task-based centers, so that I am very, very clear. The difference between just a regular center and a task-based center is that task-based centers have some kind of deliverable that the student needs to be engaging with throughout that center time. Generally, centers are something that students rotate to from day to day or in a block of time, maybe after every 15 to 20 minutes. But when a center is not task-based, sometimes the students have the opportunity to play into their learning. So they may be given a book and asked to read, and perhaps they will read, and maybe they'll go to another center, and that center is asking them to write, and perhaps they will write. But the reason why task-based centers are so very important is because you want your students to always have a specific deliverable at the end of their centers. Because when you do that, it allows the student to have something that they can say that they actually accomplished, and you as a teacher will have a artifact to show whether the student is growing in their skills or not. Unfortunately, when there aren't tasks assigned to centers, students have the opportunity to play when they're at their centers, not with the materials that you've set there, but just get distracted and play with each other. They may be off task during their center because there's nothing to provide the teacher as evidence of their time at the end of that center period. It's perfectly good and useful to have centers that are not task-based, but it's very important, especially when it comes to progress monitoring, when it comes to providing students with educational opportunities to show growth, that you have tasks assigned to your centers. So what problem does this solve? The problem that task-based centers solve is improving those soft skills and those knowledge skills that students really, really need in order to be effective in the classroom. For instance, a lot of times students may be suffering from one specific skill that is impacting their learning across many different subject areas. So that skill could just be writing. They know how to write, but they're really slow at it. And they don't know what to write all the time. Having a task-based writing center that the student engages with every other day for about 15 minutes is going to be incredibly important for them. Being able to say, hey, student, you have 15 minutes. At the end of that 15 minutes, you should have a paragraph written, whatever grade you're in, that many sentences long, on you can choose which topic. And because you have that key deliverable, it's going to help the student practice getting words on paper, creating ideas, organizing those thoughts into words and sentences and into a paragraph in a meaningful way, so that when they're going back to their regular class, be it science, social studies, English, whatever, they're going to be able to create those ideas. They're going to be able to create those ideas, get that pen or pencil to the paper, and create another deliverable for you because of what they practice in their centers. And it works the same across different kinds of centers. If you have one for a specific type of math skill that you need them all to learn that is related to geometry, maybe it's just a measurement related center, it's going to help them do geometry in all of the different geometrical tasks that they could possibly be doing in their grade level. These centers are going to allow them to perform more on a high level when you're actually doing your more curriculum-based instruction and activities. It also solves the problem of data collection. A lot of times teachers struggle to get meaningful artifacts of the students' work because perhaps they're not turning in their homework. And having centers with a deliverable is a very easy way to do that. All that you have to do is have a note card or a sheet of paper or a recording that says at the center, at the end of your time, you will have this produced. And if they have it produced, that's your artifact. And if they don't have it produced, you at least have something that says that they tried. And then you can monitor their growth on how have they been able to improve upon what they delivered to you at the end of their center time, because center time is usually independent practice work between students. So giving them the opportunity to work on something independently, have a deliverable, be it if they're doing a debate with a peer, if they have to analyze two pictures, if they have to explain something that they either see or learned, if they have to compute something that's a little bit more difficult or something that they've seen before, and this is a topic that they're going to have to remember and recall information to complete. Those task-based centers are really, really important. So how is a task-based center implemented? Well, they could be implemented in all subjects. It's going to take some organization, but it could be done in a lot of different ways. Some teachers, especially in lower grades, have their classroom set up so that when there is center time, there are designated spaces in the classroom that act as centers. They'll already have perhaps a basket or a bucket there that has the center materials, what the students are going to be interacting with, maybe a card that explains what they're going to be doing and what the deliverable will be at the end, as well as any materials that they're going to need to complete that center. That's a really easy way to do that. But other teachers, perhaps in middle school or high school, won't have their classroom set up for centers. So a good way to help them interact with those centers when they're probably something that you have to create for that particular lesson is just having a drawer full of centers. It could be in a binder. It could be in a folder where you have all the information that the student is going to need to interact with. You hand them that folder. It has the materials. It has the explanation of the center. It has the activity they're going to do if they need a partner to complete it, or if it's something that they do on their own. Having that level of organization for your centers is very important. But also having centers that are versatile enough to where you can slightly change the deliverable is really useful, because it allows them to reuse and create novel centers every single time they visit it again. Just by switching the language on that deliverable slightly creates a whole new artifact, creates a whole new skill that they're going to be practicing in their task-based centers. So I really hope that you implement task-based centers in your classroom so that you have more artifacts, so that students have more evidence of what it looks like to complete something within a time frame, to deliver something that they've independently worked on and have completed at a proficient level. Thanks for joining the Educational Fix podcast. I hope that you use this fix today in your classroom. If you're interested, please check out my books or Thriving Special Education. I'll see you soon.